Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is again a review of toys that I never played with as a kid. Now, not because they were bad toys, no, simply because there was so much competition from other toy things, other toy franchises, yeah. We're going to start with this. I'm going to review Defenders of the Earth, a spin off of the Flash Gordon franchise. So, first of all, here's one of the Infaceables. Now, what's this got to do with that? Well, because it's from the same toy company, Galoob. And as you can see, yes, it's a bad guy he has two maces for hands. So how's he supposed to hold anything? Well, he has like a mace of blades here. There's a gap between the mace, that's how he can hold things. And he has like a kind of harness to hold the weapon when not in use. In other words, it was copying the He-Man franchise. Yes, very similar style to that, yeah. And they had a cool advert on the telly, but Infaceables didn't have a TV show, yeah. Then, a couple of years later, Galoob had the rights to do Defenders of the Earth cartoon, yeah. And here we have a character called the Phantom. And as I said, I never owned one of these, but I remember seeing them at a car boot sale when they'd gone out of fashion. And something I didn't know before, they have a little handle at the back. You twist it like so, and he punches people like that. Because yes, if you're competing against He-Man and Thundercats, you need a good action feature, yeah, and you punch with both hands simultaneously like that. So that's quite a cool gimmick to have, yeah. So, and I didn't know they had that format, because when they're in the packets in the shop, you can't see, yeah. Anyway, this is something I'd like to say about the Phantom. Okay, I don't have his accessories, but when you don't have your weapons, you use the punching technique like that. Okay. Anyway, he came with like a whip and a gun. And anyway, this is based on a comic book character from 1936. And the cartoon came out in 1986. So that's, a 50-year anniversary, if you like. Superman was one of the first superheroes. Not the first superhero, but the first one to have a cool, like a circus costume. He wasn't. That's what I believed for a long time. No, the Phantom came out 2 years before Superman, and he has a cool costume. Yeah. So, yes, the Phantom did that format first, and he has an alter ego as well, a regular human called Kit Walker, yeah. And, I did like the Phantom. I thought he was pretty cool, yeah. And not too keen on the movie made in 1996, because in the movie in 1996, just called The Phantom, hey, 1996, that's the 60th anniversary. Anyway, the Phantom just talks in a regular voice. Does, hey, how's it going? Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, a bit like Cliff Richard, yeah. Whereas in the cartoon, he talks in a gravelly, mysterious, sort of eerie voice, yeah. And so in other words, Defenders of the Earth aimed at children, and it has a more serious tone with the Phantom. Whereas the movie version of the Phantom is much more immature and happy-go-lucky, and that's supposed to be aimed at a more mature audience, yeah. So I think the Defenders of the Earth cartoon did more justice to the Phantom character, yeah. Oh, yeah, and when he needs a boost of extra physical strength, he says, by jungle law, the ghost who walks calls forth the power of 10 tigers. And then for a short time, he has the physical strength of 10 tigers. Why tigers? He comes from Africa, and he has mystical powers from animals from Africa. You don't get tigers in Africa. Well, it sounds pretty cool when you're a kid, yeah. So yeah, I like the Phantom. He's a good ally, and he came with a cool skull helicopter thing, yeah. Yeah, the theme of skulls, yeah, because another name for him is the ghost who walks, yeah. Okay, so that's the Phantom character. Next, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Flash Gordon, yes, the hero of these stories. I remember when I just turned 8 years old. I'd never heard of Flash Gordon, didn't know anything about the franchise. And then my uncle highly recommended seeing the film. It was on Bank Holiday Monday and summer holidays. And I was amazed by it. I thought it was spectacular. In a way, it was good that I knew nothing about it. No way of knowing what's going to happen next. Spectacular adventure. They leave a little hint for a sequel, but it never came. There never was a sequel. No. But there was a cartoon that takes place after the events of the film. So I suppose that's the next best thing to a sequel, yeah. That's why they showed the film in the late 80s in the first place, to get you in the mood to see Defenders of the Earth, yeah. And yes, it is a spin-off from the Flash Gordon comic book stories. It takes place about 20 years after the events of the film, because Flash Gordon and his other superhero friends, they've got teenage children, yeah, so they've grown up. A lot of time has passed, yeah. Oh, yes, and once I saw this documentary about Flash Gordon in general, And Defenders of the Earth only got a very brief mention, yeah. The Flash Gordon fans were not impressed, thought it was just too different to what we had before. However, one thing the Flash Gordon fans do agree on, the 2007 live-action version of Flash Gordon, a TV show, it's terrible, absolutely appalling. It makes Defenders of the Earth look like a masterpiece, put it that way. Yeah. Anyway, yes, there's been lots of incarnations of Flash Gordon, the comic book, the black and white cinema serial, they had a black and white TV show in the 50s, and there was a 1979 cartoon of Flash Gordon, yeah. So why revive Flash Gordon in the mid-80s? Why do that? Well, to make money, but also, in the mid-80s, He-Man was a hugely successful action figure range. A tough guy with blonde hair that has amazing adventures. For, well, we've got something like that, let's do Flash Gordon. That's why, yeah, let's be honest. It was a cool time to have a blonde-haired superhero, yeah. Technically, Flash Gordon doesn't have any superpowers, but he's a really good pilot, flies it in a spaceship shaped like a sword, yeah. And in the Flash Gordon movie, it's about going to the planet Mongo to liberate all the conquered lands from Ming the Merciless, yeah, but do justice to the world, do justice to the galaxy, yeah. Whereas this version takes place on Earth, but lots of invaders from the planet Mongo, hence the title Defenders of the Earth. So yeah, it's a little bit different. We're defending the Earth rather than defending the planet Mongo, yeah. And here he has like a sword that looks like a mystical flame or something, a flaming sword. And I've seen all the episodes, and at no point does he use a weapon like that. But what the hell, it looks pretty cool, yeah. In the cartoon, more often than not, he either flies his spaceship or has his laser gun, yeah. And again, he has the punching action thing. You can use it with the weapons. Now, I can understand that with a sword, when you're hacking someone to death with a sword. But if you do that with the laser gun, how are you supposed to aim at anything? yeah. Oh, what the hell, it looks cool, yeah. So yes, I don't care what anyone says. I think that Defenders of the Earth was a good cartoon. So why didn't I get any of the toys? Well, looking back, I wish I had, you know. I found out when I was 8 that, yeah, that they'd been released in England. I should have asked for a Flash Gordon toy for Christmas when I was 8. But I didn't get round to it, didn't think that far ahead, yeah. So yeah, I think this is a good version of the Flash Gordon story. Next up, we don't have the toy of Lofar. That's a shame. I tried to get him, I searched high and low. And plus, he's the only one that has the big Defenders of the Earth symbol on his uniform, yeah. Flash Gordon has the symbol on his belt, a little lightning bolt there, but you can barely see it. It's tiny, yeah. Whereas Lofar has a really big symbol on his chest, yeah. So the next chance I get, I will get the toy of Lofar, yeah. Lofar, Caribbean ninja and a mechanic, yeah, very resourceful. He was the bodyguard of Mandrake the Magician, but then afterwards he sort of, yeah, became a character in his own right, yeah. This is the toy of Mandrake, who I didn't like at first, because I thought, well, nothing against magicians, yeah, but when I think magicians dressed in a smart suit, I think a children's birthday party, yeah. There's no place for them in an action adventure story with superheroes, but over the years I warmed to him a bit, yeah. And again, he's got his the battle punching action here thing, yeah. Now, I don't have his accessories. He came with like a magic wand and a big cape, yeah. But yeah, Mandrake, intelligent and resourceful. I suppose it's teaching kids you need brains as well as brawn in order to beat the enemy, yeah. And I suppose I have to mention it. I said I associate magicians with children's birthday parties. One of my friends, when I was 8 years old, he had a magician at his birthday party, and there was a Defenders of the Earth action figure that was one of his presents. Oh, how apt, yeah, how apt, yeah. So yeah, Mandrake the Magician, the world's greatest magician, master of illusion, yeah. Okay, now I can't do this review without mentioning Ming. Ming the Merciless, ruler of the universe. This is his magic staff. It's shaped like Mongor. He's a pet big snake called Mongor. Wasn't Mongor a character in Thundercats? Well, anyway, it's his pet snake, and his staff resembles his pet snake, and he has a laser gun. Now, how can I be politically correct about this? Ming the Merciless is dressed like a Chinese emperor, because in the 1930s, anything Oriental was evil. They're all the villains, you know. Well, that's racist nowadays, you know. And come to think of it, it was racist in the 80s. So they thought, how can we put this right? And they thought, well, he has green skin, so nobody can say it's racist. He has skin of a person that doesn't exist, you know. So they did that. And he's wearing this cap here. Very briefly, in one scene, he wears a cap like that in the Flash Gordon movie. Yeah. And yes, he's drained all the resources of the planet Mongo, so that's why he wants to invade Earth. And he will probably drain all the resources of that as well, yeah. But yes, Ming was, yes, Flash's nemesis. You couldn't do the cartoon without him. And yes, it was very well done. You can't kill any people, though, because it's aimed at kids. So to be politically correct, Ming has an army of ice robots. They didn't do a generic ice robot. Instead, they did the leader, Garax, here. And yes, yeah, as you can see, a picture of his master there on him like that, Ming. So we know that he's a servant of Ming. And Garax is a good character, very smart. All the other robots didn't really have any lines to say. But the captain of the robot army, he had stuff to say, yeah. Intelligent, resourceful. Oh, yes, and at one point, he's on the same side as Flash because Ming and Flash have the same enemy. So they temporarily work together to help each other. He has the punching action. He has a big laser gun here. And you can put an extra laser gun on top. Yeah, that's pretty cool, more firepower. But if you swish the arms a lot, then that pings off. So that's not so good, yeah. Yes, I like the character of Garax when I was a kid, yeah. If I'd had more time or more money, yes, I would have gotten at least one of these action figures when I was a kid, yeah. So to make up for not having them then, I have them now, yeah. And yes, ice robots, it makes sense because Ming's base on Earth is in the Arctic. So these robots are used to freezing cold temperatures because they originally come from Phrygia, yeah. So yes, the cartoon, very well done, non-stop action. All the characters get lots of screen time, so I think it's a shame. It's a shame that these toys weren't as successful as they could have been, yeah. And although I didn't get one as a kid, I watched almost all the episodes when I was a kid, yeah. So yes, this is a show that deserves another chance, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.